temporarily converted for the night into a drying room, and wrinkled her nose. The musty odor was nearly as distressing as the sight of the wet garments hanging on the clotheslines crisscrossing the room. There was nothing to be done about the smell until the rain stopped and the windows could be opened again, and she could only hope the clothing would be close to dry by morning. Sighing, she carefully made her way to the sideboard. Once she doused the oil lamp sitting on top, she continued through the room to the kitchen. Mercy Garrett, her mother-in-law, claimed that room at Hill House as her domain, just as she had done since coming to live with Emma many years ago when she had owned and operated the general store. As usual, all was in order. The new cook stove was clean again after Mother Garrett had made the guests some goodies to warm them, although the subtle aroma of coffee and cocoa yet lingered. The fire they had lit in the fireplace to chase away the dampness was almost out. The dishes had all been washed and put away, and the pitchers were lined up and ready for hot water so guests could wash up in the morning. Almost as importantly, the snack Mother Garrett had made for Emma, buttered bread and a pot of tea, was sitting on the kitchen table waiting for her. She sat down, took a bite of bread, and savored the sweet taste of butter coating the dense, chewy bread. Instinctively she reached into her apron pocket to finger her keepsakes, and let the memories they inspired fill the aching void in her heart. To anyone else, the tiny scraps of cloth she had sewn together at one corner would be just that, scraps of cloth. But to Emma, they were her keepsakes. Each piece of cloth a tangible link to each of her 3 sons and 7 grandchildren, as well as mementos of her married life, of her late husband, Jonas. A piece of heavy, stiff denim, a square of smooth chintz, a bit of cozy, soft flannel. She knew them by touch, each one of her keepsakes marking a special event in her life or the lives of her loved ones. She found one of the keepsakes that belonged to Jonas, a swatch of heavy canvas from one of his work aprons, and held it tight. Her deep, wrenching grief at losing him had softened in the 80 years since his passing to become tender memories of the sweet and gentle man who had been her helpmate and companion. With all her sons now married and living far away, that deep sense of loneliness, so vivid in the early years of her widowhood, had returned to haunt her. Despite the endless work at Hill House, when the day was spent and the household quiet, she missed the companionship and comfort of a loving spouse. A sharp rap at the outside kitchen door startled her, however, and set her heart racing. Another rap sent her scrambling to her feet. There was no mistake this time. Someone was definitely knocking at her door, but except for deliveries, no one ever came to the back kitchen door. Arriving guests usually used the side door to her office, or occasionally the front door, but never the kitchen door. More curious than afraid, she was on her way to the door when the caller rapped again. "Just a moment," she cried, and quickly unlocked the door. Before she unlatched it, however, she glanced around and grabbed a rolling pin. There was a time when she would have answered the door in the middle of the night without a second thought, but that was long before the Candlewood Canal had brought so many strangers to the area. She held the rolling pin firmly with one hand and tucked it within the folds of her skirt. With her other hand, she opened the door. Shivering against the damp night air, she took one look at the tiny slip of a woman standing ramrod straight on the threshold beneath a small overhang, and blinked hard. The woman's cape was plastered against what little flesh she carried on her bones, and the brim of her soggy bonnet sagged low and nearly obscured her face. Water dripped in a steady stream from the small travel bag she gripped with both hands. Although Emma had not seen this woman for a good number of years, she thought she recognized her. "Widow Leonard?" she managed, completely flustered.